Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Dappnode Crash Course. This one is particularly exciting because um, it's about how to get even more out of your Dappnode, and we're basically going to cover how to set up a private AI agent, and also we're going to be using local LLM as its brain. So what private LLMs? As you may have noticed, there's this thing called AI that is just going forward by giant leaps on a daily basis. And these models have been trained and maintained by these big corporations. And, as it always happens in the internet, your data is always at risk. So what happens if you want to use AI technology for sensitive information, like for legal purposes or maybe even like medical and tax purposes? So this is why Dappnode wants to put this technology in the hands of users that can use it and take the most out of it in a private way. So let's get started. First, I recommend that you take a look to this Dappnode blog post by Diego. This is basically going to cover some of the expectations that you should have of running this setup in your Dappnode. Most Dappnodes out there are CPU only hardware. So what this means is that there's only so much that very efficient and compressed models can do for you. But this article is going to give you an idea of what to expect and approximately some specifications for hardware that can run more complex and capable stuff. So, okay, let's start with some of the essential packages. Basically, you're gonna need two packages for this. You're gonna need Ollama, and Ollama is gonna come in three different versions. That's how you're gonna find it in the Dapp Store. This is because there are packages that are GPU optimized, like the NVIDIA and AMD package, or in my case, I'm gonna be using a CPU for this. So I installed the CPU package. So this is basically gonna handle the model that you're gonna be loading in it. So let's click on UI and it's gonna open its interface and give you welcome. Okay, so if I go to the Ollama UI, I'm gonna see this interface, which most people are pretty familiar with nowadays, and it's gonna basically give me the option to select a model. However, we still don't have any models loaded. So we're gonna go to the advanced options. And in the advanced options, I'm gonna go to models, and then we're gonna click in manage, where I'm gonna see the option to download a model from Ollama. So if I go back to Diego's blog post, I'm gonna see that some of the most efficient models are Qwen. So let's try Qwen 2.5. We're gonna pull that model. It's gonna download pretty fast. Okay, so I see that it has been successfully downloaded. And I'm gonna go back to new chat. And here I'll see that the Qwen model is already loaded. So here I basically have an interface where I can just type in simple stuff, simple operation. And this is all gonna be running in your CPU. Let's try a few simple questions. So as you can see, this works pretty fast and it barely takes any specs from your Dappnode. So now that we've configured our local Ollama model, we're gonna move on to configuring OpenClaw. So we're gonna go to its package, and Dappnode has included a really nice setup wizard that you can follow, and this is gonna be very intuitive. You are gonna be able to select if you want to use an API, or if you want to load it from a locally run model. So this is where I go back to what I was mentioning a little bit ago about managing expectations. So if you are expecting to customize your OpenClaw assistant to run very heavy tasks and resource consuming, you probably want to go with an API so that you can have access to just more resources. The way you can see it is that OpenClaw is body, and this is where you configure which brain you want to use. So since we're trying to run the most private possible configuration, we're gonna go with Ollama. We're gonna click next, and you can click here in auto detect Ollama on Dappnode, and this is gonna automatically detect the models that you have installed. So we're gonna select the Quen model, which is the one that we were using for this example. We're gonna click next, and we're gonna skip this part for now where you can configure a Telegram bot or a Discord bot. And we're gonna save this configuration. So now that this configuration has been saved, you can access the UI regularly using this UI link. But for now, we're gonna make the setup wizard take us directly to the UI. So now we can see that the model is loaded here. So we're gonna say hello for the first time to our OpenClaw. So once you have configured the first steps of your OpenClaw assistant, you are able also to access the OpenClaw terminal in case you want to run some more manual stuff. And the idea is that you are able to also connect this to Telegram or WhatsApp or any other interface that OpenClaw supports, so that you can start configuring your assistant and also getting a hold of what tasks are just better to run locally and which ones are a little bit more out of the resources scope. So having said that, this is pretty much it. This is how you do an initial configuration of OpenClaw assistant using a local Ollama model in your Dappnode. And also something else that you can try are the N8N package, which will allow you to automate workflows. And you can also try image. So thanks for watching this Dappnode Crash Course, and we hope to see you around.